Welcome back, YouTubers, to another topical video of us, the British Fist. Here today on this Monday, rather than the Wednesday. Unfortunately, now that we're not watching Raw on Monday nights, the schedule has got shuffled a little bit, so the topical video is now going to be on Monday. I am Mr. Parkin. This guy standing next to me, even though he's a little bit shorter than me, is none other than AJ.
What's up?
Reach to the skies and subscribe from above, like this video, and comment any thoughts you have on the topic of this video, which will be in the title up above, down in that comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
You got there eventually, NJ. Right, in today's topical video, we're going to be discussing, have Aces and Eights lost steam? Now, I think me and NJ in our TNA Impact Reviews lately have been expressing our concern about this Aces and Eights storyline and have been really concerned about where it's going. And we feel lately it's just not, it's gone from like a point where our interest level was up there, and now it's got to a point where it's like down here a little bit, and it's a real shame, really. The
good thing about the Aces and Eights, I will say this before we get to more detail, is with the Aces and Eights being involved, yes, it may be dragging, but the TNA actually have a big storyline going, and the fact they have something they could use over a period of time. So for that, TNA have something good going here.
Indeed, and the thing is about the Aces and Eights storyline is when it first came along, I was really intrigued. I mean, they came in very strong. They built up to it very slowly. They had Aces and Eights going after Sting. They had Aces and Eights going after different members of the roster. There was like, who is the leader? What is their agenda? There were all these questions being asked, and they went after some big names and were involved in the big, the big angle with the BFG series throughout the whole show. And that back then, because you didn't know, because you were like really looking forward to seeing what was happening next with this thing, it was really interesting.
And with the fact that the Aces and Eights members went after the bigger names in the company, it really helped them to make a name for themselves. Yes. Got your eyes glued thinking, why are they going after them? So it definitely got the interest rolling from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, you had all these segments, you had these like mass brawls and it's everything, and I think with me, it seemed like TNA had a real plan at the start. They knew exactly what they were going to do with the storyline. They kind of mapped out the details. I think my issue with the storyline then came up and towards No Surrender, when I kind of first dawned on me that maybe they don't quite know what they're doing with this storyline. We got to No Surrender, and we had that Armbreaker versus Austin Aries match, and it seemed like they put the story like they built it nicely up to there, but it seemed like they didn't really reveal much until then, and then the storyline kind of got put on hold for a month going into Bound for Glory. It kind of stalled a little bit, which kind of made my interest peter a little bit.
That's what I was going to say. With the No Surrender stuff, the fact they were going after the champion, like their follow list on Twitter, it was interesting. Going after the champion, they like had their direction. Take down the champion, make a statement against the champion, the one who's meant to be the top of TNA at that particular time, which happened to be Aries. That was really good, because obviously you're making a name for yourself, take down the champion, maybe teasing Aces and Eights going after the championship. That was a big thing for that moment in time, which is a bit of a shame that as time went on, they moved away from the championships, and then the champion even forgot about the Aces and Eights, and it came to be a bit, you're not following on with a good storyline here.
I mean, they brought it on very strong, and it seemed to me that TNA just couldn't continue that momentum. It seemed to me like they had a really good plan at the start, and then all of a sudden, it just kind of went here, 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 and it just went quite far down. It's like compared to the Nexus. Now, the Nexus came in, they went after John Cena, and then their main priority was getting Wade Barrett the belt. And I guess going towards No Surrender and Bound for Glory, and thank God they didn't do this, but really they needed to continue the high agenda that the Aces and Eights were on. And the Bound for Glory, they had the match that determined whether or not they could have the Impact Zone. And, to me personally, at Bound for Glory, they needed something big to happen. They needed some, because they gave a lot of TV time to this storyline. They really needed something big going into this pay-per-view. And we got the reveal of Devon, which, for a lot of people, including us, was incredibly underwhelming and kind of just set us off in another direction with this storyline.
I guess when it came to the Bound for Glory, it was the fact they already had the big storyline of the Bound for Glory series and the champion. They had that. The Aces and Eights could have been almost overpowering that with their involvement in the TV shows. We come to this pay-per-view expecting, right, this is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, let's see what big speciality they can come up with. We thought the leader, we thought the reveals, we thought of a huge attack again. But none of this really happened, and when it actually happened to be a reveal of Devon, it was a letdown straight away, because at the moment in time, Devon was suspected to have left TNA, so we didn't really think of him, we were thinking of all these other names. Devon, yes, we've already made a video when that happened in the first place and what we thought of it, but this was the first point of a letdown.
Yeah, so you got this storyline, and while from No Surrender to Bound for Glory, we were kind of like, nah, it's not too interesting, but we're still looking forward to see what's going to happen at Bound for Glory. So you gave all this TV time to this storyline. You would have thought TNA would have mapped something out, but it really showed me with the Devon reveal that they didn't, and that is a big issue for me. The whole Devon reveal was a very underwhelming thing, and then from that point onwards, me and you, I think our interest really started to dwindle in the storyline. They tried to continue it onwards with the reveal of Luke Gallows as Doc, but from that point onwards, you kind of got the feeling that Aces and Eights really didn't have that much of a direction. I think that was mainly because when this group is established, they didn't try and go for the biggest thing in the company, and that was the world title.
Well, following Bound for Glory, yes, it did start to go down. They lost interest. The beginning, when they first came in, they had the bosses taken care of, the world champion taken care of. I just thought if they kept that going, that would have been huge. That would have been better. Eventually, could have had a member of the AcesAnd8's going for the championship, but they changed that. Yes, they got like Hogan re-involved, Sting re-involved. They got Joseph Parks and all that kind of angle. Other TNA roster got involved. So following Devon's reveal, they did try, but they were putting away from the big end of the TNA TV show.
And now it's got to a point also where the Aces and Eights doesn't even seem like the big storyline on the show anymore. It seems like more to do. It seems like the biggest storyline is the storyline with Austin Aries and Buddy Ray and the whole thing surrounding Brooke Hogan. So it's really got to a point now where now the Aces and Eights doesn't even feel like a big part of the show. They have these vignettes, they have these backstage segments, but they're not really giving me a feeling that they've got some positive direction. I mean, the other week, Devon says he wants to go after what he lost, and that was the TV title. And at that point, I was thinking, Devon has this massive faction that is established, that's supposed to try and establish themselves and run rampant over TNA, yet he wants to go after the TV title. I think this was the main issue with the Aces and Eights. The fact that the main guy that we know about, Devon, just isn't credible enough to go after a big title. Now, if you had, like, say, an Abyss, you could probably say to yourself, well, Abyss, you could see him going after the world title. You could see him being involved in the bigger angle in TNA. You could see him being involved in the World Heavyweight Championship picture. But with Devon, you just don't have the ability to do that. And I believe with Devon as well, you don't really have the ability to interest people as much because Devon is, let's face it, guys, a 40-something wrestler not in his prime.
Think about this. I'm on the other end of this. I'm going to agree with Terminator NJ. His original idea was to eventually use Devon to go for the TV title because he's not really worthy of the higher championships and have the other reveals going for the bigger titles. So I'm hoping that this is the start of something bigger for the AcesAnd8's. Devon, I don't really care about. If they can stick him there, I'm hoping the other members go for something bigger because me personally, yes, since Bound for Glory, my interest has been going down, but with the attack still happening, with them eventually, hopefully, going after the other championships, my interest could climb back up.
I mean, the attacking thing is good. I mean, we both love an attack. We know that. But to me personally, when they gained access to the Impact Zone, I just think them winning that match really hindered them because, let's face it, they were getting into the Impact Zone anyway. So what's the point in them now? They're in the Impact Zone anyway. And now they're being booked in matches. And also they're booked in a lot of pointless pay-per-view matches now, which kind of seem like filler. So the whole Bound for Glory thing really never benefited AcesAnd8's, in my opinion. It never really made this storyline tick along because now you've got these guys booked in matches which they're not even contracted to because we don't even know if they have contracts with TNA yet, which is a massive plot hole in this. And then you have Devon as this whole sergeant-in-arms who you just feel can't do anything big in the group. And that's just how it is for me right now.
And at the minute, I'm still thinking like every pay-per-view, every 2 pay-per-views, someone else get revealed because I still think
they need to do it, don't they?
The fact they've done what they've done already, they've attacked Hogan, they've attacked Sting, they've attacked Austin Aries, they've attacked Jeff Hardy. They've made a statement. They need to start now getting to the point of where they're going to be going with this. And I think the next reveal, yes, there's 50 members, but only about 5 or 6 of them will get revealed. So I think hopefully we'll start getting more reveals, other storylines, and finally, more direction.
I mean, I get the fact the whole intrigue about it is what are they doing there, you know, who is directing all this and why. You know, I do get that, but this storyline has now been built for so long, and it's starting to go in such a meaningless direction now, in my opinion. You know, with the pointless pay-per-view matches, which really never did too much. And it seems like now the AcesAnd8's just have a very low agenda. They've gone from trying to take over TNA to now just attacking random people and going after the TV title in terms of people. That's just how it feels to me. It just feels like AcesAnd8's agenda has gone from there and it's now down to here. And how can you take this big faction seriously when their agenda seems to be so damn low? It's like when Immortal came in. Yes, we didn't care too much about the Immortal faction, but they were going after the world title. You know, you could at least say the faction was legitimate because it was going after the world title. Then they went after the X Division title, you know, blah, 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 because they wanted to ruin the X Division. And then they kind of just went off. And it was at that point that that faction petered off. And I think, to be honest, right now, it's gotten so much TV time and so much build. I'm, as a fan, beginning to question whether or not the blow-off, whether or not these reveals is worth all this TV time, and whether it's just going to be worth it in the long run for TNA. After it took over the TV period, pretty much from their inset to Bound for Glory.
Only the other end of this, like I said, I still do agree that it's been pretty slow and the interest is not as high as it was when they did their first attack before Bound for Glory. But I still see with other members being revealed, with the fact that they've started to go against champions, hopefully they're going after the tag, the world, and bring up interest there before the leader gets revealed, going to another big storyline. So at the minute I'm going to give them hope, but at the minute it's going really slow for my liking.
Yes, and it's got to a point now where I do feel that the storyline, they had a great plan at first. They were like, yes, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And then it got to a point where they were like, don't really know where to go on with here. And I think from that point onwards, it's kind of had my interest followed because they haven't been able to really ever follow up on, you know, since Bound for Glory, they haven't really been able to follow up on the fact that it was so big when it came in, and they haven't really found ways to get them on a TV show, which I feel would make them feel like a big faction trying to take over TNA. And now the agenda just seems so damn low, and that's just why I'm not that interested right now. They came in as this big, strong faction, and now, in my opinion, they're just down here. And with that, my level of interest has decreased. My level of interest has decreased.
And with other shows and pay-per-views coming up, let's just hope that they trigger something else to spark more interest.
I must admit, though, I do still look forward to see where this is going with the reveals, who is going to be reveals, but it's got to a point now where I don't care as much as I felt I probably should be caring if TNA gave this to me in a better form. That's just my opinion, really. So, if you guys have any comments, unless you have any more.
All I'm going to say is that the AcesAnd8's have definitely been one of my main interests in TNA, because yes, the other things are going on, they're not being the big wow moments, which we'll get to in later videos. The AcesAnd8's, yes, they're slowly progressing, slowly failing, but they're still an interest for me. Let's just hope something else happens to gain interest for other YouTubers or other wrestling fans.
Indeed, especially the ones that watch TNA on a regular basis. So leave us your thoughts down in the comments section below. Do you feel the AcesAnd8's are losing steam? Are you losing interest in the AcesAnd8's? If you are losing interest, tell us why. If you're not, also tell us why. We also want to accept counter arguments on there. And as the fangirls stand there, just hold on a minute, girls. We'll be there in a minute. Thank you very much for watching this video. Comment down below and
all I can say, YouTubers, is all I can say from Mr. Parkin, me and Jay, and the other people that are out there. All I'll say is thank you very much for watching and goodbye. Sorry, the British Fist say they're losing interest in my boys. Well, all I can say is the best is yet to come. So beware, worthless mortals, because we'll be taking out one wrestler after the other, and next it could be you.